Hi, this is JC on a bike. I just wanted to give you a quick coronavirus update this weekend. The coronavirus hoax that President Trump started talking about a month ago has now been elevated to a national emergency. Everybody who can afford to is stocking up on toilet paper and disinfectant gel. Do what you need to do. President Trump did manage to thank Thermo Fisher and Roche for their contributions to the sort of a response to the coronavirus outbreak. And I guess you'll have to decide for yourself whether this is fake news or not, but there is a rumor that Stephen Kushner's brother is now head of a company that has been one of the companies contracted with providing coronavirus testing for the United States and for Canada. So that's great for everybody. Congress has made progress on a bipartisan bill which will speed up the testing of vaccines in the United States. Of course, you're already well aware that there's virtually no regulation of vaccines in the United States. And so all they really needed to do was add one provision to this bill, which made it impossible for the government, either through Congress or for the Department of Justice or Health and Human Services, to investigate any of these companies for overcharging for vaccines that they provide during this pandemic. So again, good that they're safe from any of that. It's also going through Congress right now very slowly in the background, a bill called Earn It, which is actually a bill to try and close the legal space around end-to-end encryption on our phones and other other handheld devices. Things like WhatsApp and other things like Signal, for example, are apps which use end-to-end encryption so that only the two users reading the messages can ever read them again. And this law will greatly close the space around apps like that and probably end the end-to-end encryption apps as we know it. They'll probably be over pretty soon. That's, again, using this crisis for their advantage, and I think we can always expect them to do that. In other news, of course, PBS NewsHour skipped over the almost $3 trillion that have been injected into Wall Street in terms of liquidity from the Federal Reserve, and instead spent over 20 minutes trying to convince their older audience that indeed they only had one choice and they needed to vote for Biden. They also argued that the coronavirus exposed the obvious weaknesses in Bernie Sanders' argument for Medicare for all and showed that instead we really needed to fund the status quo more, and we definitely didn't need a revolution. So again, the New World Order thing would really like this stuff coming through, but of course, luckily for us that the New World Order is just really a myth. It's not really happening. And so please take care of yourself and each other. There's a ride coming after this. If you like this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. This is JC on a bike. Take care of yourselves. I mean, if they can use 10 minutes on PBS NewsHour yesterday to talk about how Sanders just has no chance of winning, why can't they use 2 minutes to explain to us what it means when they have injected $1.5 trillion of money into the stock market to prevent it from crashing? People told me that it was only crazy talk, and you were just a fearmonger. Now it's a national emergency, and we're worried about whether or not supply chains will last much more than 2 weeks. Now, what's scary is when you start to imagine that maybe the metal that is in the cans that we are expecting to be restocked every week, maybe that metal comes from China. Maybe it's just one particular piece of the can that comes from China. But now we can't close the cans, which means we can't ship the cans. And that's the problem right now. All these little pieces of the supply chain are interconnected. And if any one of those pieces is no longer available, we're going to have a serious delay in the supply chain. And that is already having knockdown effects across the board. We just haven't seen them yet because we are usually about 3 months supply down the road. So why not use coronavirus to get yourself outside? Take you and your family outside, go on a hike, get under the trees, get in the sun, throw a frisbee, Take your dog for a walk. Go wading in a stream. Make some pictures that you haven't made in a long time. But use coronavirus as an excuse to get outside, get into nature, and make your own discoveries, as they say on, what do they say that on? Dinosaur Train, that's right. You hear that call? Why not use coronavirus to get yourself outside? Take you and your friends, take a picnic, sit 6 feet apart, and enjoy the wilderness. Find some trees. If you're lucky like me, you can come to a forest in Pennsylvania and even hear a piliated woodpecker. And a chainsaw.